what is Kubecon, and the interview with Tyler Warden from Sonatype in this episode. Stay tuned. What is Kubecon? It's a flagship conference done by CNCF, at least they say it on their webpage. And honestly, they are not far from the truth. It is a flagship and it is a big conference, great conference, really something what you should feel and attend. There are 2 editions every year, one in North America, second in Europe. This time we had one edition in Europe in Paris. Next edition in North America will be in Salt Lake City, and it is really big event. This time, what I heard, 13,000 people. Okay, so it's a lot, really a lot, and you could feel it, in the venue. So there is a lot of tracks, a lot of talks. Unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to attend to any because I had my duties on the booth. But also there is a lot of sponsors, vendors, partners, many years supporting this conference. So you can meet with them every year, really twice every year. A lot of open source projects, a lot of CNCF projects, of course, because this is CNCF conference. What is CNCF? Check out in next episode. So a lot of vendors, a lot of CNCF projects, a lot of open source projects, talks, discussions, and anything what can be related to open source is there. What else I can say? Okay, this one. Except the core of the conference, CNCF also organize something what is called collocated events. So, for example, in Paris, you had a chance to join collocated events called Open Tofu Day, which was about Open Tofu. And there is a lot of other events like that one day before the conference. Let's be honest, we are there not just to go to the talks, go to the booths, collect swags. This is important. Collecting swags is the most important. At least for me, I am addicted to stickers. One day probably I will show you my collection. But there is also a networking, and not only on the venue territory, let's say, but after the conference. I mean, after every single day, after the venue is closed and you are free, right? We had a lot of events organized by vendors, by partners, where you can just, register yourself, and if you are accepted, depends how late you are, you may be or maybe not accepted. You can join group of people to have a drink, to have a, dinner, to have a, like a sightseeing in the city, whatever. So there is a lot of events like that. Of course, there is no place for everyone. It's impossible to accommodate like 13,000 people in this case, but still worth to find a company, an organization, an event organized by them and join them, because this is the place where you can have really nice discussions, nice talks, meet new people, and believe me, I met a lot of very cool people like this. The interview. This time I talk with Tyler Warden from Sonatype. We talk about Kubecon, of course, but we also talk about SBOMs and generating SBOMs and why SBOMs are very important. And what is SBOM? Well, if you don't know yet, just follow me, because I talk about SBOMs a lot. Right now I'm preparing the presentation about SBOMs in AWS. So if you are in the AWS community, you organize some meetups, here I am, call me. We talk about security. And this is very important topic. So listen carefully, and you have to listen carefully because there is a lot of noise, so you can feel the conference really, because this recording was done in the exhibition venue, okay? So there is a lot of people, a lot of partners, a lot of booths, a lot of movement, a lot of noise, and two of us there. But I believe you still can enjoy it. So enjoy, listen to it, and remember about security in your work. So here we are with Tyler from Sonatype, and we will talk about SBOMs.
Yeah.
And you know already about SBOMs because I talk a lot in my podcast about SBOMs. So SBOM, why it is important for us, like engineers, like companies, managers?
I think that when we are buying and selling software with our customers and vendors and with our partners, there's a certain amount of trust placed in us that write software every day to balance security and technical debt and innovation. Right? And part of that is having that lingua franca, that language to which we can exchange information about what's in our products. And so internally, I think SBOMs are really important because it's a way for cross-functionally for organizations that are up and down our internal supply chains to know what's going into the software that we're building. And for our customers, they want to know what they're procuring is made with quality and with security in mind. And if we're buying software, we want to know that the software that we're buying is made the right way. Just like when we buy food, we want to know what's in that food. So SBOMs can really be that single source of truth for that information, and from that we can make the right decisions. And those decisions can be around the balance of license obligation, security risk, end of life, maintainability, popularity, and those decisions. My favorite part of the whole story is those decisions can lead to both more secure software, but also faster teams, more efficient teams. And what we found is through that effective use of that supply chain optimization, which SBOMs are a foundational piece of, development teams that are focused on productivity are slower than development teams that are focused on driving optimized software supply chain outcomes, right? So they're actually slower. So you can be more secure and faster with that kind of optimization, which is really cool.
So why do not start with SBOMs, right?
Exactly.
So you already know my definition of SBOM. So now let's hear the definition from professional expert in this field. What really SBOM is, because this is something what somehow we do not understand fully, I think, still.
Right. I think to your point, there's a difference between an SBOM and a good SBOM, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely.
Right? Those are different. At the most simple level, I consider the software bill of materials just that, the ingredients or the components, those open source components, or closed source too, but those components that make up your software. But those components can be described at a very high level, like sugar in a cake, or at a very detailed level, like the raw cane unprocessed sugar, right? They both describe relatively the same thing, but one is very detailed. And SBOM is not only that list, but it can provide that supporting detail as well, such as what are the vulnerabilities, what's the provenance, what's the exact locator for that exact component. So it is at its most simple level the ingredients, but an SBOM can contain a lot more information about those ingredients to provide a lot more context. So a good SBOM is context-rich, content-full, not just a text fixed set of lists.
All right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And the most common analogy to SBOM is this like disassembled car.
Yeah.
But you are doing here a little bit differently. You show this with like real ingredients, right? Like something what all of us understand because we prepare our food. So so you create a smoothie and you explain how SBOM works, right?
Yeah, so this is 2 days ago we announced the launch of our dedicated SBOM Manager product. You know, we've had software composition analysis, dependency management, binary repositories, malicious protection for open source for a while. But what we've seen is over the past about year, organizations are really understanding what an SBOM is and why it matters, and so are governments. Governments are starting to require it. So with the launch of that product, we thought it'd be a kind of fun thing to bring the metaphor to life at the conference, where your ingredients are fresh and ripe and flavorful, make up your smoothie, just like your good components make up a good software bill of materials. You know this, you go to a lot of conferences, there's a lot of heavy food, cakes, pies, right? So just like good software should be light and nimble and agile, we wanted a light, nimble, agile,
and tasty,
set of raw materials that we can combine in our CI/CD pipeline to make our finished product, right? Yeah.
I never used this platform anyway.
Exactly. Well, you know, this isn't a cloud native one, right?
Oh yes, that's
this is still, you know, self-hosted. So.
Yes. You mentioned very important element, but people start to understand SBOMs more and more. But what is behind? And I started to be like interested in SBOMs like 2 years ago or something like that. After the executive order in US, that was the first time when I heard about this. Now we have the Cybersecurity Resilience Act in EU.
DORA and the Security Exchange Commission.
And I had a feeling like in the past that we have a lot of tools, but those tools are disconnected.
That's right.
So we can generate SBOM, we can read SBOM, we can maybe analyze SBOM, but there is nothing what connects those dots together. So I understand the platform. Yes, the platform is this connection between different blocks.
Correct. So something we've always, because it's not only the connections between ingesting and scanning and auditing and continuous monitoring, but it's also the different personas in the business that have to care about it. As you know, an engineer's view of an SBOM is very different than a lawyer's view.
Yes,
of the SBOM, which is different from a DevOps practitioner, from an AppSec practitioner. So not only do we need to connect the different capability sets, but the different people that are involved in that decision-making process. So we consider ourselves a supply chain optimization company focused on the unique supply chain of open source and AI ML components into software. And we take a lot of our cues from one of the best supply chain thinkers of the 20th century, Denning. So if you read any of Denning's work, one of his key principles for an optimized supply chain is breaking down those silos. In other words, not passing defects downstream and managing fewer higher quality parts from higher quality providers, right? And finally, knowing where those parts are in the supply chain at all times. And he generated these ideas and tested them to great impact with Toyota and the automobile manufacturing space. So we've taken those concepts and said software creation is the same thing in a lot of ways. You're sourcing raw materials, open source components, AI ML components. You are bringing them into your manufacturing facility. You're tracking those components through the supply chain, just like an automobile manufacturer buying a brake assembly, putting the brake assembly on the car and tracking it through. And one of the real keys to making that successful is the different people involved in that, legal, in the software world, legal and engineers and product management and design and documentation and AppSec and the testers all have to look at that and see things track. And what are they looking at? The software bill of material is that living asset that tracks that through the process. It is the the documentation representation of its digital twin that exists in the real world of the software.
Yeah, it sounds really exciting to have that kind of platform.
Yeah.
So how the simple folk like me can start with SBOM Manager?
If you go to our website, Sonatype.com, we have the ability for you to get a free sample report. You can upload an SBOM and really witness the power of what our data team can do. We pride ourselves in being the world leader in the deepest, most broad, fastest, and most in-depth collection of open source intelligence around the world. And the only way to really experience that is to experience it. So go to Sonatype.com, upload some binary or upload an SBOM, get that free scan, and try it out. We'd love to know what you think.
Sure. So try it. I will for sure. And I will test this platform because, as I said, I'm really excited about this because this is something what I complained a little.
That's right.
So Tyler, thank you very much for your time. And thank you for your time. And have fun.
All right. Enjoy the show.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks. That was Tyler. Thank you very much for your time. And next time we will talk about CNCF itself, what it is. See you then.